The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority says the number coding scheme will resume tomorrow, Tuesday, after it was suspended today due to the transport strike. MMDA Acting Chairman Romando Artes says there's no need to extend the suspension as they have enough libreng sakay units deployed to assist stranded passengers. Let's get the thoughts now of Employers Confederation of the Philippines President Sergio Ortiz-Luis. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into the impact of this transport strike on employers nationwide, what do you make of this MMDA basically resuming the number coding for cars effective Tuesday?
I don't know. Maybe they have looked at the numbers because there's a lot of vehicles, I understand, that were plying the streets that were not loaded, no? But I think the reason is because many companies did not ask their workers to come in, there is no school, and many cars, because of the number coding, were flying the street because there was heavy traffic. And therefore, I think we're losing hundreds of millions here. We are being brought back to the pandemic era, phase 2, alert 2, when a lot of the students cannot go face to face. A lot of workers has to be shuttled before they can go to office, and a lot of them are not going to work.
But sir,
during the pandemic, I had some billions of losses. Ngayon, malaki. I don't know how much it is.
But sir, is the ECOP calling the MMDA for this the suspension of the number coding scheme to be extended, or are you basically supporting the MMDA to continue the number coding system effective again on Tuesday?
We have no opinion on that. I think every day should be the best to decide because they have the numbers. They are monitoring it. We are not able to monitor them, and we do not know if the traffic is caused by this suspension or not, because there's a heavy traffic in the streets.
All right. Talking to members of the ECOP, where did the transport strike have a biggest impact? In which areas? In Luzon, Visayas, or in Mindanao?
Well, I was just monitoring, but I understand in most of the provinces, the jeepney drivers did not join. No? It's only some major cities where they join. So I think the impact really is in Manila, and Manila would be, there is no winner here. Just to give you a little background on how mismanaged this is. Last year, when we were already we're going out of the pandemic, we wrote, all the station wrote, LTFRB and the OTR to allow the jeepney to go back to street, but in all the routes to bring them back, but they did not follow it. I think because they wanted to implement things that they think the modernization will be the one that will do. Do you remember the first thing they did was introduce beef, which did not go well, and then they were forcing IRADF, which did not work out either. Even the vehicle inspection, and we were saying that maybe suspend muna yung modernization, but they did not listen also. So I think the problem now is they all inherited by the new administration, and now the president is really talking sense when he says that hindi well thought of. Everybody agrees that we have to modernize our vehicles, but hindi well thought of yun. Maybe dictated yung arrangement that they were doing, and that is why there are resistance, and I cannot blame them because these are livelihood of these people, and you cannot impose on them arrangement that they cannot work for them.
And you mentioned, sir, that the concentration or the most impacted businesses with this nationwide strike is Metro Manila. And this is just the first day of the transport strike. There are still 6 more days to go. Have your members at ECOP already given you an indication of how much they have lost on day 1 of this transport strike?
A lot of our people are being shuttled now. Those who can afford to shuttle, like in the pandemic. And many of them were made arrangement of working from home. And the worst, I think, affected now are the students. No, everybody's fighting so hard to make them face to face, but now they're no longer able to do that. I don't know how much effect it will do if there is a strike for 1 week. No, I think there will be hundreds of millions losses for the economy and for our students.
So what are employers learning from day 1 for their employees and workers to improve productivity over the next 6 days?
Well, I guess there's not much you can do. What we are trying to do is work on what we have been doing during the pandemic. Make arrangement for our people and try to see whether people can really work at home. And a lot of people also file their leaves. No? Unfortunately, this cannot work for everybody, especially the micro and micro industries. So I hope that in the future, what we have learned here is, I think, proper dialogues should be taken. And I think the President's pronouncements indicate that this modernization was really well thought of. There can be a lot of improvements in this.
But if you listen to that report of George Cahiles, Mr. Sergio Ortiz, and we heard the drivers and the operators, they want the President to put what he said on paper. No, it is not just lip service. Do you think that the President will follow through on what he has said regarding potential changes to this modernization plan of public utility vehicles?
I think I don't think the President should be acting on a blackmail basis threat. No, I think the President, they should take the word of the President on his desire to really improve this modernization scheme.
Thank you so much for your insights and perspective on this issue of the transport nationwide strike. ECOP President Sergio Ortiz-Luis.